Good morning, all. It's Sunday. It's Q&A time. So, what are we discussing this week? This week was how to get the most money on a job was one of them. RK says, he said, I dare say you get the most bits because you're Peter Courier driver. In all honesty, I never mention I ever do the videos. Partly because I think it might edge against me. It'd be like, oh, you're that bloke, are you? Oh, you think you know it all, do you? Yeah, okay, I'll give it to someone else. I did once have one where a guy rang up and he said, I'll send the job through to you. He said, I'll send it through on one condition. I went, sure, what's that? He said, you don't stop halfway through and make a video. And he did make me smile, like, you know. But yeah, no, I never mention it. So it might work. Anyway, there you go. Mark Lackland, he said he actually tried, he said he's been struggling for getting a job. He tried phoning, he got through. All I'm saying is, I reckon of the jobs that I quote on the phone, I might win 1 in 2, maybe 1 in 3. Of the jobs that I quote on an e-quote, 1 in 4, 1 in 5. And that depends on the quote. I mean, that's discounting the quotes where I actually quote silly because I don't even really want the job. But I do think if you can, like I say, if you sort of, you know, your English is good, it can in your favour because it helps for them to get someone that they know can talk to the customer, that's all. So we still had a few people out there saying that, you know, the one guy said, what's the point of taking a job for cheap money if you're not going to get, you know, if you're going to have to do dead miles coming back. Always be careful of where you're going to end up and what time you're going to end up. And that's regardless of whether you're quoting in January or quoting in December. Because there's no point taking a job like 200 miles away from your house if you know that when you finish you can't stay out and you've got to come to another 200 miles away back because you're going to be running for half money. Or you're going to, you know, for, you know, per mile, like, you know. Yeah, I think it's picking up. I'm still doing okay. You know, if for you guys out there are still struggling, I really hope it comes your way soon. But I think we're seeing a bit of an upturn. Seems to be slightly more jobs appearing. Fingers crossed. Craigs Dilemna. Gary John Baker says, it sounds like that if you ring the shipper, if you don't know Craigs Dilemna, by the way, it's on the video I did this week. Check it out. He said, it sounds like some shippers get the ump if you think you know better than them. I think the problem is this. I think with Craigs Dilemna, the thing was, from a shipper's point of view, if you're sending in 2 vans, you're getting 2 lots of money. And if one of those vans then turns around and says, I can put this on 1 van, they cancel the second van, you're getting 1 lot of money. So I think that could be the possible thing. Julian Rhodes said, he said, sometimes there is more to behind the scenes than we know about. It could be the fact that they're time deliveries on different times. It could be high security. I think the thing that we can all draw from this is if you get to a job and you reckon you can do it better or you can do it cheaper, don't talk to the customer, talk to the shipper. And then let the shipper talk to the customer. If you ring the shipper will appreciate it, I hope. And you go, look, I reckon we can sort of do something here. And then maybe they'll get back to you and say, yeah, well done. Or actually, no, leave it as it is. We proceed as planned. We've got a little system going. So I think that's really it. I think just the thing to bear in mind, I think we always have to bear in mind that when we go in on the exchange, we go in on behalf of someone else. So if there's any questions or any issues, you refer them to that someone else. I think if we get involved, you might do everyone a favour. And I know everyone's just trying to help out, but at the same time, we could come unstuck. So I think that's probably the thing to glean from that one. How to clean your van on a cheap. Yeah, I mean, I said the best thing is just to bucket in a bit of fairy, and when you got some time, give it a wash over. Damien Luton Go Van, he said, my mate is a mobile jet wash fleet cleaner. He cleans my van on the driveway every week for free. Well, he didn't say for free, but I thought, he's the kind of friend you want, isn't he? What do you do for a living? I clean vans. Do you really? Would you like to be my friend? I imagine he was probably Damien's friend before he did it, but handy person to know. Rusty Def 90 says, oh yeah, I think he was just on about the do you clean the van thing again. He had a couple of questions for me. Rusty Def 90, he said, do you, this is actually, we'll come back to that. Bumblebee cleaner. Sorry, right, let's start again. I've been up since 3. Bumblebee, he did a link to the cleaning brush. I've got, this is hello my friend. I think I've gone into brain freeze. I keep meaning to get in contact. It's Michael. Hello, Michael. Sorry, mate. I keep meaning to ring you, Michael, and I promise you I will. But the problem, like I said, I've got before is I keep thinking I've got to ring you, but I'm going to ring you and ask you to do me a favour to work me out on the Amazon thing. And I don't want to ring and go, hello, mate, I haven't spoken to you for ages. By the way, but I will. I want to know he's getting on. I'll speak to a couple of people. I think he's doing okay. I'll let you guys know as soon as I know. And Paddy McGear says, did you only do the video about cleaning the van because you want a break? Well, in that particular video, I was at the mechanics. So it really was my brain racing, sort of going, what can I do while I'm sitting? Because you're sitting there idle. I can sit on the computer, do some work, clean the van. I'm not a great one for sitting around doing nothing. Having said that, there's been a few times where I've been finishing not too far from base in the area, thinking, well, it's only 3 o'clock, I really should grab another job. Or could get some diesel. Could put some air in to sort the tyres out. Could clean the van. Sometimes I do use it as an excuse to maybe disappear off a bit early. Kind of depends on how well my day's been. So anyway, miscellaneous questions. So there we go. We'll go to Rusty first. He did say something about cleaning the van. He asked me a couple of questions. Do you charge double for two-man jobs? You can't charge double for two-man jobs because it's two-man. It's man and van. And then it's two-man and a van. So it's not like two men, the van's involved, and the van's normally the important bit. I know that when we did the removals, I used to charge $250 for a man and van for the day, or $350 for two-man and van for the day. I put an extra man on for 80 quid. I'd pay him 80 quid, and then I'd keep £20 back for myself. So for every man, you get an extra score out of it. But no, you can't charge double. The best thing to do, you can put a little bit of extra on. I'd say probably every job, maybe 25 quid or something like that. And then you can pay your guy £15 a job. It depends how you work out, but no, you ain't going to get double, mate. Be nice if you did, but you didn't. And he had another question as well, didn't he? Oh yeah, when you get to a ferry, can you just roll on, roll off? So that if he quotes a job and he's got to do it in a few hours, rather than having a ferry ticket ahead of time, can you roll on? I haven't left the country yet. I mean, I've been to the British Isles. I've gone over the water yet. I've been to Wales, been to Scotland, never been to Ireland. Haven't been abroad yet. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one. At the moment, I haven't needed to. I've been doing all right in my little local area, and I like to get home and I like to see the family and all that kind of stuff. One day maybe the job will come up that demands it, but right now, and I'm always frightened if I go too far away that I'm going to burn all my money coming back. So one day I'll have to try it just to find out. But yes, so if anyone, once again, we're putting this out to you guys, if you know better than I do, what are the rules? If you roll up, can you just get on a ferry? Do you have to book them ahead of time? Please let me know. I am just a conduit. I am, bow to your superior knowledge. Let me know, and I'll pass it on to the guy. Right, so that's kind of the week's videos. Miscellaneous. What have we got on the miscellaneous? Stephen By. This was interesting. He says, don't rely on Google Maps. You always, you can type it into Google, you can check postcodes. Now, I have done a video in the past of things you can do on trying to find a destination. And he says, always have a map open next to you so you can check it. Now, I'm going to ask this question honestly. There's like 1,800 people that subscribe to this. Does anyone still use paper maps? I'd love to think that they do. I'd love to think that there's some, maybe in addition, I very much doubt anyone is actually still basically navigating purely on paper maps. But it would be lovely to think that there was someone out there who was doing the Google, and by the way, hang on a second, the street, I'll just go around there. That'd be interesting. So if you do, please let me know. So there we go. Smithy, he says, that was interesting. Yeah, once again, passing it on. Thanks very much for contributing, Smithy. On the flat, because I said you can't claim back on vans. I said, you have to, you claim back 20%, you pay them 10% or something like that. But you can't put your money on, you can't claim back on diesel, you can't claim on tires, you can't claim back on vans. Apparently, you can. If it's over a certain value, if it's over 2k or something like that, I didn't quite get to the bottom of it, but it's something worth checking out. So even if you're on a flat rate, if you're buying I think it's like a capital asset over $2,000, you're still entitled to get the VAT back. Once again, those of you out there that know better than me, please let me know, and I'll put everybody straight next Sunday. What have we got? Govsidhu said, I think it's Govsidhu and Vasi Lone Christian. It's kind of what van is the best van? Guys, scroll down, there's a video on it. I personally think the best van you can drive, and also what's got the most jobs. I would say on the exchange, the most jobs tend to be small van, maybe 7 out of 10 is small van. I still recommend if you could get any van, you'd be in a Luton curtain side with a tail lift. Having said that, I'm not in a Luton curtain side with a tail lift. My van doesn't have a curtain. It's because they were difficult to come by when I bought it. But there is a whole video on this, so scroll back down and go through it, and hopefully that will clear things up for you. Gold member joined last week. Welcome to the club. Hello, mate. He said, what is an acceptable age of the van on the CX? It's basically the newer the better. There's no unacceptable age. I think what you really, more than the van being, certain jobs will require a tidy van. Most of them just require you to pick up the parcel and deliver it. The most important thing is not necessarily the age of the van, it's the reliability. As long as the thing works, that's kind of okay. I always say buy the best van you can with the money that you've got, and when the time comes, upgrade it and just try and keep it as clean and as upgraded and tidy as possible. But there isn't necessarily an acceptable or unacceptable age. Having said that, the age of your van will be logged on your CX membership, and some people, when they're going to look to give you a job, might look down, look at the van and think, no, I'm going to give it to the guy next door because he's got a newer one. It's basically the newer, the cleaner, the tidier, the better. But there isn't like a cut off on it. BK Carroll. Oh yeah, once again, sharing the knowledge. We're going back to feedback. He said, if you do 2 or more jobs for a company, they can only leave 1 feedback. So if you've got a regular job and you're every Monday to Friday, you're in and out of the same place for a guy on the exchange, you're only going to get 1 feedback for those jobs. I still recommend if you've got a regular job, do it. Because regular jobs are lovely. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get lots of feedback, but then you can get that the feedback you get in the afternoon. But it might be if you're thinking about taking one job or another, you think, well, I do a lot of work for them, haven't done any work for them. Let's get involved with them, see if I can make myself a bit of a reputation. So there you go. Kasim said, "Is the courier exchange self-employed?" Yes, it is, my friend. We're all self-employed. So you can have QuickBooks, you can have accountants, you sort all the other stuff out yourself. That's all down to you, mate. There's no one telling you what to do. At the same time, it's all your responsibility. Yeah, we're all a bunch of self-employed guys. So there you go. Kathleen Circa, he says, do we have our own drivers and how do we find them loads? Yes, we have our own drivers. We find them loads basically from using our end users, of which we still don't have anything like enough of. And if we can't get them loads from the end users, we get them loads from the exchange. And also, say for example, say Callan takes a job, and he'll probably go from Heathrow to Aberdeen because he seems to love Scotland runs. We seem to think he wants to put a kilt on. But then what we'll do is if we've got a regular driver, if we've got a regular load and we've got to take some stuff up to, say, Aberdeen, and then what we'll end up doing is generally the office will start searching Aberdeen, see if we can get them a back load. Doesn't happen very often. Alternatively, they keep an eye on it themselves. And then on the way up there, they might go, I've got a job coming back. The exchange is very, very good for that, particularly on distances. Backloads is a wonderful thing. So there we go. Lee Westcott, good question. Do you ever worry about fork truck drivers damaging your van? No, I don't worry. I've done over 2,000 jobs myself now, and only one of them has kind of bent the shutter a little bit. The thing to do though, if you're parked up and a fork truck driver damages the van, go into the transport office and go, your fork truck driver has just driven into my van. I've taken some photos. I shall be claiming on the insurance because I'm hoping these guys are insured for this. It's the same. It's only the same as if someone drives a car into your van. But when the guy bent the shutter out a bit, I kind of, oh, okay, mate, and we just sort of. I got the mechanics. It's a rivet gun job. It depends on how heavy it is. I personally don't really want to get involved with insurance. It's a lot of grief, and I just want to get out and then get running. And I don't want to cause anybody else any aggro if I don't need to. But I suppose there is a difference between slightly scraping a little bit of paint off the side of the inside of the shutter and driving into the front of it. So, but if they do it, go to the transport office. Go, sorry, but Barry over there has just driven his forks into my wing. So here's the photo. That's kind of near the end of it today. Richard Reed, thank you very much for your offer of assistance with the O licence. I still don't know where I'm going. Oh, mate, I feel like I'll be on like rabbit headlights. I've had a couple of 3 o'clocks. So at a Mercedes, up at 3, into Mercedes for 5, moving car parts apart. And I might be a little bit sort of shell-shocked at the moment. So, but thank you very much for your offer. And also Paul Wilkes' question was, what if you've got a job booked after your job and it doesn't come off? What do you do, mate? That question is actually a video in itself. So I'll probably do you one personally this week. In the meantime, I'm going to try and get some rest. I'm kind of done for a little while. But new week, avoid the storm, and take care, take money.